Welcome to Promoted Post Domination, the inside secrets to using Facebook's most powerful advertising tool. Module 4 is all about using the Facebook Ads Manager. In the last module, we learned how to increase the visibility of a promoted post directly from your Facebook page using a function called the promoted post. This is located at the bottom right-hand corner of every status update that you put on your Facebook page. Now that's absolutely a great way to get more eyes on your post, but there's an even better way, and that's what we're going to talk about. This is an even more powerful tool called the Facebook's Ads Manager. In this module, we're going to show you how to navigate and find your post, more specifically the promoted post that you want to advertise, where to place your ad, how to build a target audience so that you can get a lot more specific about who your ad is shown to, how to establish a budget, and what the bidding and pricing functions within the Facebook Ads Manager mean, and how you can use them to get better results. So let's get started. There are two quick and easy ways that you can get to your Ads Manager. Right from your left-hand sidebar on your profile, there's a link that says Ads Manager. You can also get to your Ads Manager clicking on the little wrench up in the corner and clicking on Create Ads. And remember, we are talking about promoted posts, so we would want to click on the page post engagement ad. You're looking for the word post, in other words. If you're an admin on multiple pages, then you'll have to choose your page that you want to boost the post on. But if you only have the one, it will propagate automatically for you and you'll be able to see it. So I have my own pulled up here, Boom Social with Kim Garst, and if you click on the little drop-down menu or drop-down button, you'll see that all of the different posts will come up. And they recently just changed this to where now all of the popular posts, in other words, the ones that have already shown through Facebook's algorithm that they've gotten some great engagement, in other words, the suggested posts that they think that you should promote or that you could promote, either way, is listed at the top. And if you scroll on down, you'll see the rest of your posts, and they're dated, by date. So 3 hours ago, 5 hours ago, 6 hours ago, they're chronologically listed. I'm going to choose a status update that I just put up. So it's again promoting my do-it-yourself social media for small business inner circle, and I hit the continue button, and it will pull up that individual post. Now I have to make some decisions. The first decision I have to make is whether or not I want my ad to be a sponsored story. Do I want people to click on this ad because they saw that their friends clicked on it? Now there is some value in this from a social proof standpoint, but in this particular case, I don't want to create a sponsored story. In this case, my goal is to get this ad in front of a very specific group of people. So I'm going to unclick the sponsored story. And again, there may be times when you would want a sponsored story, but in this case, I'm going to unclick that option and just keep it, a straight target. Now, if you'll click on the Show Advanced Options directly under the sponsored story, we have done a lot of testing, and it's not just us. I've heard a lot of other people who participate in Facebook advertising say the same thing. The desktop newsfeed option is pulling much better and getting much better conversions than the right-hand column. So I'm going to unclick the right column because, again, I want to focus primarily on getting the results and the best results that I possibly can. And then, as we know, mobile is huge. You absolutely, in my opinion, want to make sure that your ad is showing up in a mobile news feed. You can actually see what the ad's going to look like in the news feed and in the mobile, how it's going to be reflected in a mobile ad. And as you can see, it looks fine. You can again, this is a great indicator, and you should absolutely take a look and see what your ads are going to look like. So I've chosen two different views. The desktop newsfeed, it looks great. And I've also chose the mobile newsfeed. Again, it looks great. So I've chosen two of the three places that my ad could be viewed. And again, it's mostly from a budget standpoint and the results and goal-oriented standpoint. Now let's focus on our audience and who we want this ad to be shown to. And the very first option you have is location. If you want a specific country, a specific state or province, a city or a zip code, or a series of zip codes even. If you want to get all the way down to targeting specific zip codes, this is an amazing little tool, an amazing application for those who are targeting a specific area. And then your next option is what age bracket are you looking to connect with? In my case, I'm just going to go with 25 to, let's see, 60. The next choice is gender, and do you want all men or all women? I'm going to choose all. You'll notice as I make choices that the audience definition over here, it says your audience selection is fairly broad. Potential reach is, a whole bunch of people, millions of people. And of course, it's going to be very hard for Facebook really to give me much targeting with my audience this big. So we have to continue to narrow it down. The next decision you have to make is what language are you targeting. If you start typing in English, for example, it'll say English all, English UK, English US. I'm just going to target here. I'm just going to stick with the US because I've already told it the US up here. You can also enter a language. Say, for example, you have partially an English-speaking audience and partially a French-speaking audience. Then you could do 2 languages if you so chose to do so. And then your next choice is demographics, relationship status, education level, schools, different types of things. And there is application for all of these. And then what type of interest do I want my audience to have? Or, what types of things would they be interested in as it relates to what I'm trying to market? You really have to think about that. It's not always about your product or service. You're trying to get in front of an audience that has maybe a variety of interests. And they may not have thought about your product or service or even realize that they need your products or service. So step back from it a little bit and think about the people that you want to target. What do they care about outside of your product or service? What I'm getting ready to share with you is the most exciting part of using the Facebook Ads Manager to create your promoted post. Using this one little trick here, you can actually target your competition. So in my case, people who follow Social Media Examiner, for example, would probably be my ideal client. So I could start typing in Social Media Examiner, and up comes Social Media Examiner and their fan base. So now my ad will get in front of the fans at Social Media Examiner. And you can type in any other fan page that you feel is your competition. And if it stands to reason if they are following your competition, then they are absolutely your ideal client. So this is an invaluable resource for you to target your competition and target your ideal client more specifically. That's the biggest value, honestly, to this interest feature here. You could do some broader categories, but again, the key here is to target and to get in front of people that you know have an interest in what you're marketing. So I would highly suggest using fan pages that are similar to yours and that are serving your ideal client in ways that you would like to serve your ideal client. Because again, this narrows your focus a lot and will really, really help. Like I said, you can do some broader categories, small business, for example. It gives a lot of folks here, but or small business owners. Let me type that in just so you can see the difference. And again, you could absolutely target these 2 categories or, any category that would be relative to your business. But again, really narrowing this down is going to be the key to building out a great promoted post. The next decision you have to make is who do you want this to be shown to? What connections? You can choose all. Basically, that just means that you use this section to show your ad or sponsored story only to people who have certain kind of connections to your page, your app, or an event. For example, if you only want to show it to people who like your page, choose one of the options under Advanced Connections Targeting, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more. So you can choose all or only people connected to your fan page or only people not connected to your fan page. Or if you choose the advanced option, these are the options here that you can have. One is, leave this field blank unless you want to narrow down your audience to only the people connected to your page. So for example, if you only want to show your ad to people who are, connected to your page, then you would put in your fan page here. So I could start typing my fan page and pop that in. If you want to exclude people who are connected to your fan page, people that are not currently liking your page, for example, you could click, start typing in your fan page or an event. Again, there are different reasons why you would want to do this. And the scenario that I'm setting up here, I'm just going to click all and, leave my targeting choices that I chose above in place so that, we can have a lot more targeted space. And this way that everybody that my ad will be shown to everyone who's currently connected to Boom Social and people who are not connected to Boom Social. The more categories section here is, again, just for some custom targeting. Essentially, this is for use the category targeting to reach groups of people who share similar interests and traits. So this is a little bit different, like, for example, custom audiences, owners of old computers, events. You could do some different types of narrowing down things here. But there's not in my opinion, there's not quite as much value in this section unless it's very specific to what you're marketing. And there may be cases where it is. So I would encourage you to at least go through these categories and see if there's anything that, really, is key to your specific niche. And then the last thing you would have to choose is, after you've selected your target audience, your next step is to choose how much money you want to spend on this particular campaign. In this case, I'm creating a campaign that I want to compare to a previous campaign so that I can measure which one pulls better. I would encourage you to do the same thing because it gives you a baseline and you can see which of your ads are performing better than others. So again, just to keep this similar to the ad that I showed you in Module 3, I'm going to do a lifetime budget. I'm going to spend $70 over the period of 7 days. So let me choose the date here. Let's see. All right, now is set up for 7 days, so the 24th through the 3rd of March. The other option you have is per day. You could set a budget for a daily spend. So if you wanted to spend $5 a day, you could absolutely do that. Unfortunately, you can't spend less than $5 a day. So if you have a limited budget, the lifetime budget is a really good option because Facebook will spread the wealth out. It'll automatically do it for you. You won't have to worry about a daily budget. And the next choice that you have is your bidding and pricing section. And the way it works when you run ads on Facebook, you bid for clicks or impressions. Which bid type you select determines what you will be paying for when you run your ad and who will see them. For many, the optimized cost per thousand or the OCPM, the standard setting that they have here, works beautifully. The reason I say that is because Facebook will automatically manage and show your ad to people who are most likely to take action on them. You also have the option to set up a cost per click or CPC or a manual bid for impressions or a CPM, cost per thousand impressions. Bidding for clicks, the bid for clicks is great if you're only interested in paying for the clicks. In other words, if you're trying to take someone to a sales page or you want to be focused in on just paying for the clicks that you receive and not the impression, then the bids for clicks is great. And the bid for impressions is great if what you care about the most is getting your ad seen by as many people as you possibly can. An impression is basically one view of your ad, and with CPM you're going to pay for every 1,000 views. If you decide to go for the cost per impressions, Facebook will actually give you a suggested bid range. In my case, based on the options that I chose, my audience definition, Facebook is suggesting 4 to 16 cent per 1,000 impressions. I wouldn't go so low as to say, okay, I'm going to try to, underbid and go with a cent or 2 cents because chances are Facebook is not going to give you a lot of impressions if you go under their bid range. If you go, somewhere in the in-between, you can always adjust this based on the amount of traffic you're getting. If you're getting great traffic for, 4 cents, great. If you're not, then you can come back in and bump it up just a little bit. Usually what I do is I go, somewhere in the in-between, and Facebook will tell you this information. So you can go back in and make adjustments and, get a better feel once your ad is actually started to run. And this suggested bid price, just so you understand how it works, this bid range is based on what other advertisers are paying to compete in the same space, against the same audience that you are trying to target. So just to put this into perspective, let's assume that your bid range, or what Facebook ends up charging you, is $1 per 1,000 impressions. This means that your total cost for showing this ad 1,000 times is $1. So there can absolutely be some value in the cost per impressions because you're getting your message out in front of more people. So if you want 5,000 people to see your ad, then using the same example, then your total cost would be $5. So you can absolutely get your ad in front of a lot of eyeballs with a small budget. How amazing is this? Once you've finished with your bidding and your pricing, then you can go ahead and review your order, and Facebook will give you a summary. It'll include all your audience demographics, your campaign that you chose, the bid type that you chose, your bid amount, the budget that you set up, and how long it's going to run. Once all of that is done, you can go ahead and place your order, or if you see something that is not right, then you can click on the edit order and edit any of the things that you just set up. Once you're done, you can go ahead and click place order, and your order has been placed. You can create another ad with some different demographics just to see which one pulls better, or you can just see how this ad runs out the gate and then adjust as you need to. Congratulations! You have just created a highly targeted promoted post. That's it for Module 4. In Module 5, I'm going to show you how to actually audit the results, make adjustments if necessary to get the best ROI from your ad. Because bottom line, we want to make sure that you have the best performance from the ads that you place on Facebook. See you in the next module, guys.